How you doing today, Bob?
Doing a lot better than I was years ago.
Welcome to Open Diary. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you because you're a little older and you have some knowledge that you can share. How was you when you first start getting involved in drugs, Tom?
I was probably 12. But then I started getting into the real drugs like shooting, meth, and things like that when I was 16 years old. You know what I mean? And I've never stopped since. The only thing that stopped me was going to jail. So I understand addiction.
And how was your childhood coming up? Did you was
My
you
childhood was your typical Catholic, Roman Catholic family. We had seven children, plus my parents. Real strict, you know what I mean? But he taught us morals, you know what I mean? He taught us a good work ethic, you know what I mean? My mom was a prescription drug addict most of my life, so I seen her go through withdrawals and all that stuff like that, you know what I mean? And I guess in a case like that, you either completely reject drugs or you follow on the same path, you know what I mean?
well, do you believe that, witnessing your mom on drugs, you believe that influenced you to try it?
Nah, not really. Because it really didn't. I mean, my mom was doing drugs all my life since I was born. So I really didn't understand those things until I got older. You know what I mean? It was a while before I even recognized that something was wrong with her. You know what I mean? She was in a mental institution for 5 years for a nervous breakdown. And I was like 5 years old at the time, you know? And I barely remember those things. My older siblings tell me about it, you know? I mean, I remember vaguely, but I know our household was hell going through. My dad was real strict. He'd get drunk and he'd beat us, you know what I mean? But at the same time, he worked hard. He was a hard-working man and honest. And I don't think he even realized what he did when he drank, you know what I mean? He sacrificed everything for his kids. Never bought shit for himself, you know what I mean? And you don't realize those things either until you get older. You're like, oh, I hate this guy, he's so strict, you know what I mean? But man, when you get older, you realize, man, that guy gave up everything. He worked at the steel mill all day long. Came home, worked outside in the garage till 10 o'clock at night. Got 2 hours sleep, went to work every day, never missed, you know? So I have a whole new respect for him as I got older, you know what I mean? I'm just now, at this age, understanding what he actually went through and what he sacrificed, you know? I'm 69 years old. My dad was 72 when he died. Like, I'm almost his age now, you know what I mean? So, and I don't know if I could have done the things he did. Supporting that many kids, sending them all through Catholic school. That's a lot of money, you know what I mean? But that's just the physical things, you know? He brought us up in a religious environment. We went to church every Sunday. You know, we did all the Holy Communion, all that stuff like that. So I know a lot about religion. You know, I don't have a complete understanding of it. I guess I'll always be, and most people probably are not quite sure where they're at with God or how they really believe what they believe. You know what I mean? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You know, it could be, it's impossible for this world to be the way it is without somebody planning it. You know what I mean? It can't be an accident, it's just too perfect, you know? But to believe that, there's a heaven and there are going to be great things coming and that God has a plan for your life, and that's a lot for me to believe in, you know what I mean? I don't ridicule people that believe it, but I don't follow that strongly, you know what I mean? Because I don't know. I'm not sure.
So currently, you're still on the meth?
Yes.
Have you had any time, in between where you were sober and you didn't get high?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I spent 26 years in jail, you know, collectively, you know what I mean? Like small, a bit here, a bit there, a bit there. And in all those years, I didn't do any drugs. You know what I mean? So that's 26 years that I didn't do drugs. So I got to know what kind of person I was when I wasn't high, you know what I mean? So, and I like that person, and I always want to become that person, you know? But
So what do you believe after doing 26 years and having that much long time of sobriety, what you think brung you back to using again?
well, it's a good question. And it's kind of like, the one thing I'll say, the meth now is not like the meth like it used to be. You know what I mean? Now you do meth now and you go to sleep. It's just not as strong as it was. But aside from that, I just like, I'm a hyper person. I like to be up all the time. You know what I mean? Running around doing things. I don't like to be sedated. I get sick on all those Benzedrine things and all that. And I guess I don't feel that it's adversely affected my life that bad right now because I'm doing good. I've been out of jail for almost 5 years. I don't get in any trouble anymore, you know. So, I'm not the same behavior as I had when I was younger. A lot of that could come with age. A lot of that can come with realization. But I have no desire to completely quit right now. You know what I mean? Because my life's manageable, you know.
Well, at your age, you're not afraid of the meth causing a heart attack or anything like that?
I most certainly am. I do the smallest amounts I can at a time. Because, yeah, I don't want to die of a drug overdose, you know what I mean? But like I said, the stuff's not like it it has that fentanyl in it. That scares me, you know? And there's days that I go a few times, 2 days without it, that I actually start feeling a little sick. I feel like that's from the fentanyl. You know what I mean? You could probably get a fentanyl addiction even with a little bit of the meth you do. I did meth every day for the last couple of years, you know what I mean? Every day. Except for like I said, a few times I didn't have it. But I started feeling sick. I'm almost afraid to stop for fear I'll have like a lot of the heroin people have those physical withdrawals. But that's not a real fear. It's just probably an excuse, if anything, you know what I mean? But I don't know. My life's not that bad.
And how long have you lived in Kensington?
Lived with what?
How long have you lived in Kensington?
Going 3 years now.
And since you've been here in Kensington, have you witnessed or been through any horror stories?
There's a horror story here every night. You know what I mean? Just walk around looking at these people. You see 25-year-olds, 18-year-olds that look like they're 70, hunched over, you know what I mean? Falling asleep in the middle of the street behind somebody's car. They can get rolled over. You know, it's terrible here. There's so much drug addiction. It's so open and obvious. People are shooting in their neck, you know, broad daylight. Nobody does nothing. They don't care if kids are around. You know what I mean? They just don't care. They have no integrity, no morals about it. They just care about their addiction, you know?
So are you afraid that could be you?
I'm not afraid of that aspect of it, you know, as far as, you know, because I think you can die from heroin. You know, I never heard of anybody dying from methamphetamine, you know what I mean? That's another reason why I do it. Well, that's not the only reason, but I pray and I thank God that I don't have a heroin addiction. I really never liked it. I never took a liking to it. And I'm glad because I know a lot of these people are good. You know, I knew a lot of them before they started getting real bad into it, you know what I mean? And I've seen how their behaviors have changed and how it's a one-track mind thinking, just get high, get high, get high. I mean, I seen a girl the other day, she showed me her arms and her legs and it has so many open wounds just from trying to shoot meth. You know, it's like, and she's only like 28 years old and still kind of pretty, you know what I mean? I think it's a waste. And, you know, the community leaders don't help either. You know, they have these prevention points where you go exchange needles. Yeah, that's good for, you know, not spreading diseases, but it's not good for enabling a person to have everything given to them hand and foot, you know, to enable them to do the drugs, you know what I mean? I'm sure, yeah, they're going to do them anyhow, but make it a little harder. Make it like, maybe they'll get tired of their struggle. But you have everything given to you, the struggle's not there anymore, you know what I mean? There's no reason to change. Other than the fact that, you know, you don't like the spot in life you're at, you know? I'm not completely happy with my life the way it is, you know what I mean? I want better for myself, but at least I think of aspirations, you know what I mean? These people don't have the capacity to even think that far ahead.
Well,
because they can't.
Well, I heard you say, you know, you do meth and you gave us a story of the people who does Fetty, and it seems like the people that does Fetty is worse. Or do you believe that any addiction is worse than others?
I do. I mean, point blank, any addiction, whether it's gambling or whatever it is, it's going to affect your life. Usually it causes a problem. You can't manage it, whether it's drugs, like I said, gambling or something like that. But I think some drugs are worse than others because I know heroin, for one, is a hard drug to stop. It's a hard withdrawal, And at the same time, when you do it, you could die at any time. I've seen it happen, There's so many people I know that overdosed and keep doing it. Yes, I think some drugs are worse than others. Heroin is definitely the worst, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, let me rephrase that. Do you believe that somebody that's on marijuana or crack is better than an addict that's on heroin?
You mean better than or better off?
Better than.
No, there's no better. Like a pot smoker is no better than a heroin addict. You know what I mean? They're in the same, not category, but the same position. You know what I mean? They're struggling. To do. They're not living their right life. They're not living a clean life and doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? So yes, it definitely interferes with your everyday living and how things are going to work out for you in the future. But as far as being better than anybody, no, I don't think that. I'd rather be where I'm at than where some heroin addicts are at because, man, they're really stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know what I mean?
Well, Ben, you older and you have some experience and, wisdom. What would you say to children who never got involved in drugs or they are thinking about getting involved in drugs?
I would tell them, don't ever pick it up. Don't let the curiosity get the best of you. It's not all that. It's not a one-time or a two-time get high thing. It's going to be the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely stay away from it. Your life's better off without the drugs. Things are so much more manageable. You can cope with things much easier without that addiction on you, that extra burden. When you're concentrating on that, you can't concentrate on the things you should be doing, to get your head in life, to go to school, to get an education. You might hear that all the time, but it's the truth. This is no way to live. It's not fun. Don't let anybody let you think it's fun. It's not. It's a struggle all the time. So don't think you're missing out on anything because you're not. We're missing out on what yours are doing by not doing drugs. I'd rather be you.
Well, thank you, sir. And, that was well said. And, we about to end this interview, but before we go, is there anything else you would want to share awareness of before we end this interview?
I would just say, if you see this interview, look at me. I'm 69 years old. Life's getting close to the end, you know what I mean, age-wise. And my biggest regret is ever getting involved in drugs in the first place. I missed out on, having a wife and kids because I was in jail so many times. I didn't care about nothing but drugs. Stay away from drugs. As weird as that sounds, and every day you hear it, stay away. Just say no. And I hate to sound like a cliche, but it's as simple as that. Just say no.
All right. Thank you, sir. And it was a pleasure speaking to you.
Likewise. I appreciate your time.